If there's a man who, according to Western standards, no one would ever think could be president of a country, it's Jacob Zuma. Against all odds, this man rose from very humble beginnings to become the head of state of South Africa. With no formal education, he relied on self-education and charisma, which worked wonders in his life. If you are new here, please like this and subscribe. Help us to reach 1,000 subscribers. Jacob Gedleyihlekisa Zuma was born on April 12, 1942, in Nkandla, Natal Province, now KwaZulu-Natal. It's a remarkable coincidence that South Africa received three prominent leaders in 1942, Jacob Zuma, Thabo Mbeki, and Chris Hani. He was the son of a policeman and a domestic worker, Nobekisisa Muzobi and Gay Namazwi Zuma. His father died when he was 5, a situation that changed young Jacob's life because his mother had to become the sole provider for the family. He spent his childhood moving between Zululand and the suburbs of Durban. At the age of 7 or 8, Zuma began herding his grandfather's cattle while his peers went to school. He and his fellow herders would engage in traditional stick fighting, at which he allegedly excelled. He learned life skills and the art of survival that he would use later in life. Zuma taught himself to read by looking at the books of other children who attended school. He even arranged a night school for himself and his friends. In his teens, Zuma would visit his mother, who was working in Cato Manor, Umkhonto, but was not allowed into the home where she worked. Instead, he would walk around the city in search of work. Zuma was politically influenced by stories of the Bambatha Rebellion, which inspired Africans to see a reason to fight colonial oppression as a united front. This was important because one tribe alone wasn't able to fight the sophisticated army of the colonists. The rebellion led to the decision to form the African Native National Congress to unite all tribes to fight oppression together. The stories of Bambatha were retold by men who had lived through that period. At the age of 15, he started working in factories around Durban. At 17, in 1959, he joined the ANC. He was a people person, and his charisma has been a defining part of his life. He was very militant and wanted to fight apartheid as soon as possible, so he was recruited into Umkhonto Sizwe, MK, to get a machine gun and fight apartheid. On his way to Botswana for military training, he was arrested near Zeerust with his comrades. Zuma was detained under the 90-day detention law in solitary confinement at Hercules Police Station before being transferred to a different police station near Pretoria. He was interrogated and beaten, even though the police already had enough evidence to secure a conviction. On August 12, 1963, at the age of 21, Zuma was convicted and sentenced to 10 years in prison for conspiring to overthrow the government. Along with some of his comrades, he was taken from Pretoria to Leeuwkop prison outside Pretoria before being transported to Robben Island to serve his sentence. It was there that he received more political education and developed his love for the game of chess. He is now known as a chess master. His time in prison was an opportunity to be taught politics by great leaders of the ANC. After serving his 10-year sentence on Robben Island without a single visitor, he was finally released. He then continued working underground for the ANC and married his first wife, Sizwe Gertrude Khumalo, in 1973. Exile and rising through the ranks. In 1975, he went into exile and met his comrade Thabo Mbeki. Mbeki taught him how to handle a gun in Swaziland. While in Swaziland with Mbeki, they were arrested together. These comrades were like brothers in arms, which is why Zuma respected Govan Mbeki as a father figure. Govan Mbeki also had a special relationship with Jacob Zuma. The apartheid regime wanted to deport them to South Africa, but they survived and were taken to Mozambique, where he worked hard to establish ANC structures and welcome MK recruits. Among the many recruits, the most prominent was Collins Shabane, the man he later appointed as minister in the presidency, in charge of performance management and monitoring and administration. In 1977, he became a member of the ANC's National Executive Committee, NEC. He worked for years in Mozambique, occasionally crossing into South Africa for missions. It was in 1978 that he started to work with George and Joyce Mashamba, who were instrumental in his intelligence work in the country during the dark days of apartheid. He completed a 3-month leadership and military training course in the Soviet Union, which is where his love for Russia and his fluency in the Russian language grew. In Mozambique, he has a special memory. His famous twins, Dudu Zane and Dudu Zile, were born while he was in exile. In 1986, he accompanied the then ANC President Oliver Tambo to the funeral of Samora Machel. You can watch this video showing Zuma serving his president. By 1986, while he was in Mozambique, Zuma commanded an intelligence unit. His team included the Sheikh brothers, Yunus and Mo, and Jayendra Naidu. These individuals would become important in his life later, especially the Sheikh brothers, who are siblings of Shabir Sheikh, Zuma's future financial advisor. The unit successfully infiltrated the security police in Durban and gained access to information about their informers. Zuma was very successful in his efforts to infiltrate the apartheid regime. At one point, he worked with the Watson family to infiltrate the government. This is the same Watson family of the famous Gavin Watson, who was a billionaire when he passed away in a Toyota Corolla on August 26, 2019. Some people believe he faked his death. The Watson and Sheikh brothers were also instrumental in Zuma's life later on. He was forced to leave Mozambique in January 1987 after considerable pressure on the Mozambican government by the P.W. Botha regime. He went to Zambia. Along with Mbeki, Zuma was part of the negotiation team for the ANC President Oliver Tambo, which met with South African government representatives in the late 1980s and early 1990s. Although Zuma was head of intelligence and a chief negotiator for the ANC, both he and Mbeki were later replaced by Terror Lakota and Cyril Ramaphosa. Zuma returned to the country clandestinely in March, along with Penuel Maduna and Matthews Fosa. He is actually one of the first people to return to the country with his comrade Joan Lanla. It is also said that he would enter South Africa for Umkhonto Sizwe missions and leave undetected by the apartheid police. Later, he was involved in negotiations that resulted in the signing of the Groot Schuur Minute, an agreement that outlined important decisions regarding the return of exiles and the release of political prisoners. In December 1991, at the first ANC conference held in South Africa since 1959, Zuma was elected Deputy Secretary General, while Cyril Ramaphosa was the Secretary General. In November 1990, Zuma was elected chairperson of the ANC's Southern Natal region, a position he used very well to forge peace in KwaZulu-Natal between the Inkatha Freedom Party and the African National Congress. Zuma worked very closely with Frank Midlalos, who was the chairman of the IFP, to forge peace. Zuma was leading the ANC in a way that showed it was not just for Xhosas, it was for Zulus as well. This man has done a lot to restore peace in KwaZulu-Natal, which is why he still commands great respect in his province today. In KZN, Zuma is not just a politician, he is an institution. At the ANC's national conference in Bloemfontein in December 1994, Zuma was elected both the party's national chairperson and the chairperson of the ANC in Natal. An exception was made in the ANC constitution to allow him to hold both positions. He won the 1994 conference against Paulo Jordan and Jeff Radebe with 77.60% of the vote. From deputy president to president, Jacob Zuma's political career took another turn at the ANC conference in Mafeking in 1997. He was elected deputy president of the ANC after Winnie Nomzamo Madikizela Mandela was nominated from the floor but declined, allowing Zuma to win unopposed. Technically, he served his full term as deputy president, even while facing challenges in government, like being axed by his longtime ally and comrade, Thabo Mbeki. Zuma has had a very interesting life. From an early age, he joined the struggle and worked hard without a formal education. Everything he achieved was through hard work and political maneuvering. This man's life is like a movie. He's been promising a book for years, but he can't seem to finish writing it because it has so many chapters. I'll even pause here. In a future episode, I'll focus on his love for his family, especially his many children, and the love they have for him. In another, I'll focus on the challenges he's faced since he was an MEC in KwaZulu-Natal until he became state president. I'd also like to do another episode focusing on the road to Polokwane and its after effects. Please comment here about other African that you want us cover on our channel. Please like this and subscribe.